The Senate to order. Sergeant at Arms, please secure the doors. Members, please take your seats. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. President.
All right. Anybody have any inspiring words or invocation that they'd like to give? If not, we can just wave the. We can use the invocation from earlier and have that serve as today's invocation. If there's no volunteers, okay. It appears there are not. All right. Let's have the clerk take the call. With 44 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland is yet again in session. Again, hope everyone had a wonderful night's sleep. We are now in a new legislative day. Have a happy message to be read. This is a message from the House. The clerk will read the message. Oh, I'm sorry. Without objection, so be considered the reading of the journal from the prior legislative day. And let's go ahead and read the message. Do we have this one? Here we go.
Message to the Senate by the Majority Leader. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, we propose with your concurrence that when the General Assembly adjourns April 12, 2021 at 12 o'clock midnight, it stands adjourned, sine die. We further propose the appointment of a joint committee, 2 on the part of the Senate and 2 on the part of the House, to wait upon His Excellency, the Governor of Maryland, to inform him that the General Assembly will adjourn April 12, 2021 at 12 o'clock sine die, in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution, and to inquire if he has any further communications to make to the General Assembly. We have appointed on the part of the House delegates Lukey and Kipke, by order Sylvia Seeger, Chief Clerk.
Message having been read is order journalized. Let's send them a message right back. The clerk will read the Senate's message.
By the Majority Leader, ladies and gentlemen of the House of Delegates, we have received your message proposing that when the General Assembly adjourns April 12, 2021, it stands adjourned, sine die. The Senate concurs therein. We agree to the Joint Committee to wait upon His Excellency, the Honorable Lawrence J. Hogan, Jr., Governor of Maryland. The Senate appoints Senators King and Senator Simonera. By order, Nicole M. Alexander, Secretary.
Message having been read is ordered adopted. All right, it's official. Midnight. We are getting to the end part. All right. Let's go ahead and jump into second readers so that we have these ready to get across. We're going to start with the Committee on Finance. We've got calendar report number 55. Clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 132, Delegate Bagnall, Health, Mental and Emotional Disorders Consent, Mental Health Access Initiative, favorable.
Thank you, Mr.
Chair
President.
recognizes the Chair of the Committee on the favorable report.
House Bill 132 is identical to Senate Bill 41 that has passed the General Assembly earlier this session. The bill establishes that a minor who is at least 12 is determined by a health care provider to be mature and capable of giving, you know, guys, what it does. There are no amendments. I move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Sorry. Floor Leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Chair recognizes the senator from the 34th District on the report.
Thank you, Mr. President. On the report, colleagues, this is a bill that proposes that children as young as 12 can make their own mental health decisions. You know, we've heard so many discussions this past year about how children's minds aren't formed and they're not capable of making decisions, that even very serious decisions like whether to kill somebody or maim them or do serious bodily harm to them, that they're not even capable of making those seemingly rather simple decisions. And so the idea that we would put into their power the ability to judge whether someone who's going to be providing the mental health care is the right person, whether the diagnosis is the correct diagnosis, whether they should have a second opinion, whether the course of treatment is the appropriate course of treatment. Those are all very adult, very complex, very serious matters. And to treat mental health as though you're just saying, oh, well, you can consent to go play on the playground or not if you're 12. This is mental health. Mental health is very, very serious. And the wrong counselor, the wrong mental health care provider, like a surgeon, the wrong surgeon could do serious damage. So as well can the wrong mental health care provider. And these are matters that ought not be taken lightly, and certainly ought not be delegated to a 12-year-old kid who's obviously perhaps got some sort of problems. That's why they're perhaps seeking mental health treatment. And to hide that from the parent without good cause. We don't even have this bill doesn't even provide that, sort of a fail-safe that, okay, if the child were to have serious problems for perhaps the parent, and maybe the parent, it involved a serious issue with the parent, and perhaps at that point we may say, hey, let's bring somebody else in to look at this rather than let the parent come back in to at least get the child in the care. No, this just presumes that the parent's not to be involved without any further analysis, that the parents just cut out. And why we would want to, this body would want to encourage policies that denigrate the role of parents. If there's one major problem we have throughout our society today, it's that parents' roles have been denigrated, set aside, that they don't have the control over their own children. And to further that very serious problem with a bill like this that takes away the responsibility that a parent has for a little 12-year-old kid is just something we ought not do. So,
Senator, does the Senator have a motion on the bill?
I'm sorry?
Does the Senator have a motion on the bill?
Do I have a motion on the bill?
Yes.
Yeah, I would move that we reject the committee report. Thank you.
Oh, all right. Thank you, Senator. All right, Chair recognizes the Senator from District 36.
Could we special order this to a little bit later this afternoon?
Let's see. Are there any objections to Senator's special order? Yes, Chair recognizes
Considering that this body has already passed the cross file, I think it ought to have a vote. Nothing has changed.
All right. Well, let's just not spend a lot of time on bills that have already passed, I would guess. Questions on the special order? All in favor of the special order, say aye. Opposed, nay. No prevails. Chair recognizes the Senator from District 5 on the bill. On the favorable report.
Question of the favorable report?
On the report, yes, Senator. On the report.
Yep. It's a bad bill for many of the reasons that my colleagues have mentioned. I wanted to just speak and say that no matter what's happened in the past in this body, I just want to be very clear that what we're doing in these bills is we're removing the ability of parents to know what's happening with children as young as 12, what kind of counseling they might seek. The situations that have been referred to in support of this bill where a child does not have the right kind of parental help or has a parent that's perhaps abusive or inattentive, that there could have been a bill written specifically for those kinds of situations. It could have been crafted very narrowly or even broadly, frankly, to say if a parent is not available, or if there's some sort of extenuating circumstance, or if in the judgment of any sort of authority figure, maybe at the school level, there could be some sort of ruling. Instead, this bill just basically wipes out and says, nope, 13-year-old, you feel like you're having mental health issues, mental health trouble, you're just gonna it's fine. Your parents don't even really have to be informed, even though the Maryland the Psychiatric Association, the people who actually will be doing this kind of work, they say they don't want a bill like this, and they are very concerned. They question whether you can even have effective treatment for mental health needs if a parent is not involved with a 13 or 14-year-old. So, Mr. President, this bill is not a good one, and I wish that our committee had not moved either one of these bills, this one or the Senate bill. But it is what it is. I'm speaking against it, and I urge the body to reject it.
All right, on the report, any further discussion on the report? Chair recognizes the Senator from District 6 on the report.
Just briefly, Mr. President, if we really realize we have a mom and we have a dad, we have parents or we have people that take care of us that are elders. And what it comes down to, Mr. President, I know when I was a child, I spoke as a child, I acted like a child, I did childish things. And I realized that any time when I was in trouble, I went to my parents. If I had conflict, I went to my parents. Anything else that I even had problems in school when I left, I went to my parents. My parents knew me best. They brought me up, they fed me, they put me in bed, they made me realize that I honor them in the godly way. And if anybody knows anything about me more than anybody else, it was my parents. And they knew what was best for me. Not a counselor, not a teacher, not anybody else. It was my parents. And to say that somebody else can supersede their authority is really, to me, not a good thing. It never will be. And I believe in the eyes of God, it's not either. And I think we need to honor him first, and we honor our parents second, and then we give authority to others. But we do not give it fully to somebody else that's a counselor. We go to our parents first. And I believe this is something that we really need to realize what we're voting on. We honor our parents. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. All right, on the report, any further discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 132 is hereby ordered passed for third reader. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 548, Delegate R. Lewis, Human Services, Trauma-Informed Care, Commission and Training, Healing Maryland's Trauma Act, favorable.
Chair recognizes the chair of the committee on the favorable report.
Thank you. House Bill 548 is identical to Senate Bill 299, which unanimously passed the Senate. The bill establishes the Commission on Trauma-Informed Care in the Department of Human Resources. Among its duties are blah, 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 because we already know what this bill does since you guys voted unanimously for the cross-file. There are no amendments. I move the adoption of the favorable committee.
All right, Senator. All right, we're getting to the end here. We got to hold it together. I think the chair was trying to explain that this is a bill that was passed unanimously by the Senate. Chair recognizes the minority leader.
Okay, I missed a little about the blah blah blah. I wasn't actually paying attention, but I'll let this one go.
All right. It was passed unanimously. Are there any discussion on the report? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 548 is ordered passed for third reading. All right, we've got another one. These are bills that we've seen before. Calendar 57. Clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 836, Delegate Pena-Milnick, COVID-19 Testing, Contact Tracing, and Vaccination Act of 2021, favorable. This is an emergency bill.
Chair recognizes the chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you. House Bill 836 is identical to Senate Bill 741, which the Senate passed earlier this session. Among other requirements, the bill requires the Maryland Department of Health to adopt and implement a 2-year plan to respond to COVID-19. The bill also requires the department to develop a plan for vaccinating residents, convene a Maryland Public Health Modernization Workshop, and provide funding to local jurisdictions and other care providers to cover testing and costs. No amendments, no opposition at the committee hearing. I move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Moves for adoption of the favorable committee report. On the report, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 836 is hereby ordered passed to third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 987, Delegate Chi, Economic Development, Comprehensive Technical Assistance Program Establishment, favorable.
Chair recognizes the Vice Chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 495 is identical to Senate Bill 459, which passed the committee by a unanimous vote earlier this session. The bill establishes the Comprehensive Technical Assistance Program within the Maryland Technology Development Corporation, TEDCO. Purpose of the program is to provide comprehensive technical assistance to any business that qualifies for financial assistance under a TEDCO program. The TEDCO is also required to provide a detailed description of the implementation of the program in its annual report. Mr. President, there are no amendments. Move adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. On the report, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 987 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. All right, let's go ahead and take up a judicial proceedings report. This is calendar number 55. It has amendments, so we're going to have to move it along. Clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 1312, Delegate Wilkins, landlord and tenant eviction actions, catastrophic health emergencies, favorable with 2 amendments. This emergency bill.
Chair recognizes the chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is an emergency bill, and as amended, it prohibits a court from issuing any judgment, possession, or repossession of a warrant restitution of possession or repossession during and for specified periods of time after a catastrophic health emergency. These prohibitions apply in a failure to pay rent action if, in addition to other requirements, the tenant can demonstrate to the court that the tenant suffered substantial loss of income that was due to the pandemic. The bill prohibits the landlord from providing the tenant the notice to quit, file lien or action or holdover unless certain exceptions apply. There were 2 committee amendments. One is technical. Amendment number 2 alters the manner that the Maryland judiciary is required to collect and provide access to certain information and limits the bill's affirmative defense to substantial loss of income to failure to pay rent eviction proceedings. Mr. President, I'd ask for the adoption of 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any discussion? Chair recognizes the senator from District 11 on the amendments.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I have an amendment.
Oh, Senator, we need to get through the report first.
Okay.
On the amendments, any discussion on the amendments? We'll come back to you, Senator, at the District 11. Senator from District 36 on the amendments?
No, I had a question on the amendment.
On the amendments, yeah.
Yes, thank you very much.
Will the floor leader yield for a question? Senator may proceed.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you, floor leader. There's been a number of bills that have come through that have been on the same tenant-landlord topic. Can you just give me one more explanation of this one and how it differs from the other ones? The last time we heard one of the bills, at least I thought it had to do specifically with the COVID pandemic, and we heard it didn't, but now maybe this one does, or if you could explain, please.
So this is most certainly directed toward the pandemic, and yes, so it just gives, if they can demonstrate a substantial loss of income due to the pandemic, then it offers certain protections for eviction.
Okay, and then just explain how the relationship continues to work. Obviously, if you could explain how that relationship works between the tenant and the landlord.
Sure. So it's for the holding over cases and for eviction cases. If it gives them a defense, if they can demonstrate that I've lost my income, I can no longer pay because I lost a job or any other financial circumstances that come under because of the pandemic.
And does that forgive them for having to pay rent?
No, absolutely not. It does not absolve them of their responsibility to make payments.
Okay. Does it delay the process from them having to pay rent?
Again, only if they can demonstrate that substantial loss of income, and that's linked, and that's the reason that they can't pay their rent.
Okay, but I mean, as we know, many people did lose their jobs as a result of the pandemic, and I wouldn't imagine it'd be very difficult for a lot of them people to demonstrate that. So let's say that they were able to demonstrate that and say, hey, I have not had a job for a period of time. How they would be able to then not have to pay, and then how is the landlord made whole in all of this?
So there's no explicit ways that someone would have to say, hey, look, it's basically documentation that they were let go from their job, that they filed for unemployment insurance and the like.
Right, and then take it a step further. How does that then affect the landlord-tenant relationship with respect to rents that are due?
So it just delays their responsibility to pay. It just means that you can't file for eviction at that course of time, and you can't file against them for their holding over the period after their lease ends during the pandemic or during the state of emergency.
Okay, I'll go back to the question I've had with every one of these bills. Is this for all landlord-tenant relationships, or is this for corporations that make leases, or individuals that own houses and lease? What status on that?
Exactly like the last one. This is tied to all landlords.
So,
or residential.
When we keep having these situations where we're excusing the tenant from having to pay, how are we making the landlords whole? I mean, the landlords still have mortgages to pay for, they still have taxes to pay for, they still have upkeep to pay for in the properties. How are we squaring that with the landlords if money's not being able to be collected?
So, I mean, again, with the federal assistance coming through, over $800 million for the rental assistance, I think is directly, sorry, hard to
Yeah,
say.
I know.
It's directly connected to this, and I think that's what we're going to be relying on to fill that gap. But again, that doesn't absolve the tenant of the responsibility to pay that back rent.
No, but not immediately. But like you said, it doesn't absolve them, and they could have to pay in a certain period of time. But I don't know that mortgage companies have started going back to landlords and saying, hey, you don't have to pay us for a period of time. And, as we keep seeming to be on one side of this, landlord-tenant relationship, and almost all of the bills that we've passed so far, that has been solely focused on the tenant. And I agree, they've gone, if they've had a job and they have not been able to work, they've gone through some very extraordinary circumstances, and we should find ways to do something. But mandating that a landlord or a tenant doesn't have to pay for a certain period of time, puts an awful lot of pressure on landlords as well too. I mean, many of those companies could have struggled as well too, maybe lost a lot of tenants as well, and are struggling to keep up with the finances that are required for whether there be mortgages or operations. It just doesn't seem like we've done anything for that side of the equation.
Well, I mean, I think that's exactly why the rental assistance money is so critical, because obviously you want to keep the tenants housed. I mean, that's the number one goal, right, so that they can pay. It's more expensive to have someone, you got to switch the unit over, you got to prepare it, you got to get it inspected, and then you got to market it again. So it's obviously cheaper for both ends to have that unit stay occupied. Now, the fund that comes through, the federal pass through the counties, that is going, I mean, part of that will say, look, it'll be used to apply to any back rent that's due, and then there's a 120-day kind of protection or buffer that you can't move to evict that tenant for 120 days after you've received this money. So that's another protection, but I mean, that's the other side. So that's the landlord side. So it's obviously in both sides' best interest to keep the unit filled.
So you're saying the federal government has come to the aid of the landlords. Is that what you're saying through that?
That's exactly right. I mean, that's obviously filtered through the counties, but the federal government has stepped up in a big way.
Okay. But then it just seems a policy that we continue to create in here is really favoring one side of this equation, which I understand it, but I don't think that we are recognizing the costs, expenses, and operations that the landlord have to be able to pay for these residential units that they're renting out. I mean, some of them I imagine are, they might be foreclosed on as well too. If that homeowner that might be renting a house out cannot continue to afford the mortgages, then maybe, foreclosure could come against them as well too. So I just wish we were doing a little bit more on both sides of this. I understand where these bills are going, but just to rely on the federal government for the landlord part of this is, I think we should be doing something for both sides. So,
I mean, yes, I get what you're saying. Just the landlord has the opportunity for that holdover. If they haven't received any of the rental assistance, they can still exercise the right to.
Understand. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Fleury. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right. Questions on the two amendments. Chair recognizes the senator from the 34th District.
Mr. President, I just wanted to make clear that, so there's no confusion in the discussion here, that the actions are stayed not just through the period of the emergency, but for additional 180 days after the declaration of emergency expires. So it doesn't just terminate on the declaration of emergency. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes the minority leader on the amendments.
Yes, if the floor leader would yield, please.
Will the floor leader yield? Senator,
thank you. And I'm asking because I have constituents who are in this situation. I know of one who was trying to evict someone back at the end of 2019. By the time they got in the court, COVID started and they couldn't get them out. And they hadn't paid. So they haven't paid for over a year. They're still paying their mortgage and all that. So I'm just wondering the interaction between the federal action and then the state action. I thought the federal action was they couldn't evict them for a certain period of time, if that's true. And then this is going to piggyback on that, so it's longer? Or just You can help me with that.
So with the CDC moratorium on evictions for loss of income, and then there's the PAT, which is in place, and you've got what the governor did. And then if you have the pass-through, if you get the federal money, what it says is if you take that money to kind of make right, to pay that back rent, then it's 120 days that you can't evict that tenant. That's not compounded, and let me check with council, but that's not compounded with what we're doing here. So it's a 120 days after the end of the moratorium or the pandemic or the state of emergency, or from which point that rent was cured by the federal money.
So take my constituent. If the federal money comes in, and I don't know how they allocate it, but if it's not enough money to pay for the over a year's back rent,
No, he's asking if
they still can't evict them until after. For one, they have to, under this law or current Maryland law, they have to give that federal money to the landlord. Is that the first step?
So this all works together. I think you're asking, like, could you get the first 120 days and then get back? So you say you have the pandemic ends, the state of emergency ends, 120 days from there. And then you're asking, well, if that person got their federal money cured at, the day before the pandemic ended, would they have, an additional 120 days? Is that what you're asking? Basically, is it compounded? No, it's one or the other. It's wherever that starts.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, on the amendments, any further discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The amendments are adopted. Question now is on the favorable committee report as amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, yes.
Just another question, if I could, please.
Quick question for the floor leader?
Yes,
Senator
I was waiting
on
for
the
the
report?
amendments to have been adopted, and then I had just a question.
Senator may proceed.
I was looking on, again, this is a big bill, but on page, I guess it says page 6, line 23, it looks like we're starting to talk about rent control.
Yeah, so initially as the bill came in, it was a universal statewide control, but we amended it so that it only applied to those that were able to demonstrate a significant loss of income.
But it still is a form of statewide rent control, right?
Only during the catastrophic emergency, and only to those tenants that can demonstrate that they have a significant loss of income.
And for, as my colleague said, 120 days after the catastrophic health emergency is over.
It's 120 days.
120 days. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. President. I kept the questions quick.
I appreciate that, Senators, very much. Thank you. All right, on the report, any further discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Senator from District 11 has an amendment.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. It's Amendment 373-124/1.
373-124/1. All right.
Thank you. As the bill came in from the House, a number of us were looking at it, and we pared back the breach of lease provisions that we originally examined, and I think we pared them back too much. As the chairman stated, there are different ways that someone can evict someone: through lease non-renewal, which is tenant holding over, through failure to pay, and also breach of lease. So this amendment clarifies that the breach of lease is related to the tenant's non-payment of charges, and the tenant can, again, the tenant has to show a substantial loss of income connected to the emergency room. The breach of lease is also related to the tenants having an illness at issue in the emergency. For example, they themselves are ill with COVID. And finally, that the breach of lease is related to the tenant's refusal to allow the landlord or contractor into the property because the tenant believes that the contractors are not taking appropriate safety measures. I move the adoption of the amendment.
All right, on the amendment, any further, Senator moves the amendment. The committee chair recognizes the floor leader.
Sure, consider this to be a friendly amendment.
Consider a friendly amendment. All right, on the amendment, chair recognizes Senator from District 34.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I think, wasn't this amendment considered in committee? I'm sorry, with the proponent of the amendment, you have a question?
No, it was not.
All right. So we in this amendment you talk about, was it cause or related to, and then we use new terminology. It says the tenant's non-payment of charges for which the tenant is responsible under the lease agreement. I don't see where this is tied into. Throughout the bill we use the nexus language to establish the nexus between the tenant's failure to pay and their I forget the term we use, the illness, the catastrophic illness, or we called it. I'm not seeing that in this amendment.
My understanding is that is very much a part of it. On page 6, I believe, line 1, that you still need to meet the same exact requirements as for the other, that it is a link to the catastrophic health emergency and that the loss of income is as a result of that.
So the predicate to this one is still the
same
the
as
nexus
for
to
the
the
others.
catastrophic health
Yes,
emergency.
exactly. The same as for the others.
Okay. And this is the tenant or other lawful occupants suspected to confirm health condition. We haven't tied this into another lawful occupant. So what we're saying is whether another lawful occupant would be paying these charges?
No, I think, for example, if a child is sick,
I'm sorry?
if a child who also resides in the tenant's, that also could apply here. I think that's a scenario under which that would be covered.
All right, there's a lot of conversation about this. There's a lot of interest in this amendment. Chair recognizes the chair of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. I view this as a friendly amendment, but I understand the hour's late, so I'd ask if the sponsor of the amendment would mind pulling back on the amendment so we can move the bill forward.
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
Would the sponsor of the amendment be interested in maybe withdrawing the amendment? There's a lot of interest on this amendment.
In the interest of time, I'd ask, I'd view this as friendly, but in the interest of time, I'd ask the sponsor if she could withdraw the amendment so we can move the bill forward.
Defer to the committee chair.
All right, the sponsor withdraws the amendment.
Thank you.
Without objection. House Bill 1312, are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 1312 is ordered passed for third reading. Chair recognizes the Majority Leader. Majority Leader moves to suspend Rule 24 for the purposes of 2 readings in a single day. The question is on the motion to suspend Rule
Mr. President.
24. Chair recognizes the senator from District 5.
I'd resist the motion.
Senator resists the motion. All right. Are there any further discussion on the motion? The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Would anyone wish to explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 30 in the positive, the motion fails. The bill will be ordered. We'll move to the next bill. All right, we've got conference committees. Let's go conference committees. We've got Senate Bill 69. Senate Bill 69.
Senate Bill 69, Senator Hester, Cybersecurity, Coordination and Operations, Establishment and Reporting.
All right. Let's see. Who's the chair of this? Chair recognizes Senator from District 9 on the conference committee report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 69, as it is coming back to us, has been amended down to include a study and a report, and we've decided to concur with the House on this. I just wanted to point out that it's disappointing because we've had so many attacks in the past year, and cybersecurity attacks are on the rise. And I want to commend this body for passing, in 2 years now, cybersecurity legislation. Significant cybersecurity legislation, and I'm hoping that next year we just get it out of the House. I move for the adoption of the conference committee report.
All right, the conference chair moves for the adoption of the conference committee report. Chair recognizes the minority leader on the report.
Yes, if the floor leader would yield.
Will the floor leader yield for a question?
Sure.
Yeah, I know you and I sponsored this, and it was you put a lot of work into this and did a great job. I was talking to my seatmate. Are we just making this a study? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, on the report, any further discussion of the report? Chair recognizes the senator from District 7 on the report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Will the floor leader yield for a quick question?
Yes.
Senator
Thank
may
you.
proceed.
Just kind of backing up what the minority leader said. We've had this bill before several years. We've had major cybersecurity attacks in this state. My county's school system was shut down. Major metropolitan area had a ransomware. We've had police departments attacked. Did the House give any indication why they had an issue with it, or are they willing to move forward next year?
You know, it's a complicated issue, and I'd like to thank all the members of this body who serve on the Joint Committee for Cybersecurity and those who serve on the Commission for Cybersecurity. I think part of our problem was that nobody in HGO actually sat on this committee. But you're right. It's a huge issue. We've had the Baltimore County Public Schools attacked. We just had this notice of attack where they were selling the UMD students' personal information online. We spent $18 million in Baltimore City. So I'm really hoping that next year we can get it through.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. On the conference committee report, real quick, I just hope that next year the House will listen to us on the Senate side, realize how important cybersecurity is, how we are getting attacked. It's costing our taxpayers millions of dollars, and that we move forward. So with that, I'll be supporting the conference committee.
All right, thank you, Senator. All right, on the report, any further discussion of the report? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The conference committee report is adopted. Senate Bill 69 is again before us on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If
Chair.
not, yes, Chair recognizes
Just
the minority
explain
leader.
my vote.
Has 2 minutes to explain his vote.
And I want to thank the President allowing me to serve on the Cybersecurity Council along with several in the body here. This has been an issue we've been dealing with a long time. I know the sponsor of this bill has studied it for years. It's very disappointing. Our committee put hours and hours in this with work groups. I thought we had a really good product, and to come back and just study it again, I think is extremely disappointing. So hopefully next year we'll get it through the finish line. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes the
Mr.
senator
President.
from District 27 has 2 minutes to explain his vote.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm voting yes, reluctantly, only from the perspective of having been the co-chair with the Senate co-chair of the Joint Cyber Committee, and we have put at least 3 years worth of work into this, and I look forward on this in this chamber to continue to work with the Cybersecurity Committee and to make sure that we actually get this bill out next year. So, thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Just a reminder, folks, it's 10:16. Chair recognizes the senator from District 6 has 2 minutes to explain his vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just real quick, I want to thank the sponsor and the co-sponsor, of course, for this bill because, as the previous senator said, in my county, we've been attacked twice, and this is very important, and we really need to move forward to not just to study it, but to put some security out there for our schools and for our places of business. So thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. All right, any further senators wish to explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 69 have received a constitutional majority is declared passed. We've got another conference committee report, Senate Bill 883. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 883, Senator Gazzoni, tobacco tax, out-of-state sales of premium cigars and pipe tobacco.
Chair recognizes the chair of the conference committee report, Senator from District 45, on the report. Senator?
On the report, Senate Bill 883, the House agreed to the posture that the Senate sent it over in.
All right. And this is one we had before, the cross file. All right, on the report, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The conference committee report is adopted. On Senate Bill 883, the bill is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 883 having received a constitutional majority is declared passed. All right, we've got special order calendar 62. Clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 647, Delegate Wilson.
All right, House Bill 647, the questions on the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 647 is ordered passed for third reading. We've got special order number 63. Clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 784, Delegate Terrassa, Residential Construction and Electric Vehicle Charging. Question on the adoption of the favorable report.
It's House Bill 784. Questions on the adoption of the favorable committee report. Chair recognizes the senator from District 5.
Thank you, Mr. President. I had special ordered this bill a couple days ago. I appreciate talking to the floor leader. My questions have been answered. It looks like the amendment there was an amendment that took care of the issue we were concerned about, that existing projects are grandfathered in. So I'm removing my objection. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. All right, on the report, any further discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 784 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. All right, we've got back to this EHE report. This is number 68. Clerk will read the bill. First bill, that is.
House Bill.
I think we're on 309.
House Bill 309, Delegate Pena-Melnick, Public Health, Data, Race, and Ethnicity, favorable.
House Bill 309, Chair recognizes
Right
the
here.
Vice Chair as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill we have seen already this evening. It basically just gives us more data for the Office of Minority Health and Health Disparities to work with. There were no amendments. It passed unanimously. Move the favorable report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. On the report, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. House Bill 309, are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 309 is ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 468, Delegate Forbes, Baltimore County School Board Nominating Commission, Vacancy Procedures, favorable with two amendments.
All right, House Bill 468 is on, let's see, floor leader. Baltimore County, Chair recognizes Senator from District 12 is the floor leader.
Can I special order this to the end of the calendar?
Sure, or the next calendar. If end of the calendar. All right, without objection, so ordered. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 600, Delegate Belcastro, State Board of Examiners for Audiologists, Hearing Aid Dispensers, Speech Language Pathologists, Duties, Appointment of Members, and Requirement for Licensees, favorable.
All right, Chair recognizes Senator from District 12 as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 600 is identical cross-filed to Senate Bill 523. Move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
All right, floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. On the report, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 600 is hereby ordered passed for third reader. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 776, Delegate Ebersol, State Department of Education, Infant and Early Childhood Mental Health Consultation Project, Study and Report, favorable.
Chair recognizes the Senator from Baltimore City as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 776, there's no Senate cross-file, does an important thing to ensure that we have infant and early childhood mental health consultation project. It's a study and a report. It's going to review a lot of goals for this project. It's going to identify areas where the state really has a gap analysis in the services that we're providing families with infants and early childhood education. There are no committee amendments, and it passed our committee unanimously. I ask for the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 776.
Mr. President?
Oh, yes.
Could I ask for a suspension of the rules? This is a very important bill, and so that there could be two readings in the same day.
We can try. Senators move to suspend Rule 24. The question is on the suspension of Rule 24. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of suspending Rule 24 say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Rule 24 having been suspended, House Bill 776 is now on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 776 having received a constitutional majority is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 992, Delegate Gilchrist, Natural Resources, Maryland Environmental Trust, trustees, favorable with 2 amendments.
Mr. President.
Yes, Chair recognizes the senator from District 33.
Thank you very much. House Bill 992 is in reference to the Maryland Environmental Trust. As the bill came in, it tried to address the quorum issues and the selection of trustees. As with many of our boards and commissions, there's a problem on getting enough bodies at the meetings. And with 19 members of the Maryland Environmental Trust, they've had quite a problem on getting enough bodies in the room, so to speak. This bill lowers the number of folks that are required to be a quorum to 6 out of the 19. And the bill has 2 amendments. The first one is technical. The second amendment strikes the provision of the bill that would have changed the manner in which the trustees were chosen. So folks appointed by the governor, by the president of the Senate, by the Speaker of the House, all that remains the same. The bill now only has to do with the quorum. Move the 2 amendments in the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments in the favorable committee report. Chair recognizes the senator from District 37.
Thank you very much. Would the floor leader
yield to a question?
Yield for a question?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Is it possible that we can move this bill, suspend the rules to be able to move it up to have 2 meetings?
Senator, I think that's a great idea, but unfortunately it's above my pay grade.
We're not quite there yet. We have some additional questions, Senator.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Oh, no worries. Good effort. Chair recognizes the senator from District 5 on the amendments.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wonder if the floor leader would yield
Yes.
the question.
Will the floor leader yield?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Looking at this bill, it sort of jumped off the page at me. I wanted to, checking a couple of issues. One is, this bill was withdrawn. The Senate version was withdrawn.
Yes, it was. It was cross-filed by the senator from Midshore.
Oh, actually, I didn't even see the names. It's very interesting. So normally we don't move bills that usually we kill a bill in one house and we don't, but in this case it was withdrawn. So there's 19 members.
Yes.
And I actually, we're having a quorum of 6. It seems
under the new bill.
Under the new bill, 6
members can request a meeting. So that tells me
can
that's
request
the
a
minimum.
meeting. They can't make a decision with just 6 or 7 people in the room. They can just have a meeting.
The bill is silent on what happens at the meeting. It just says that is the number necessary to get a quorum together.
Maryland Environmental Trust, can you describe very quickly what that covers?
No, I cannot.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for your honesty. The reason I ask, the reason I ask is that at times I do worry about someone being able to have a meeting with less than close to a majority of the board, but it does sound like it's a need. There is one, yes.
Senator, I have to be careful. If I say that enough, he's going to put me on that thing. So just saying, I've not been a member, so I'm at a loss to say exactly what they do. I'm sure it's oversight of the environment in some manner.
Yes, it sounds like, I think maybe if we could yield to could I ask the Senate sponsor of the bill to clarify that question?
Thank you very much. I'd be glad to.
Yes, Senator, hold on. Let's just hold on really quickly. All right. This bill's got a lot. It's still got to get concurred over in the House. So if it's going to take a long time, we may not be able to make it. But we'll yield to
Mr. President, if I promise to conclude in just a moment, can I just get the answer to my question?
The senator is welcome, but we don't have a lot of time. So Senator from District 37 can certainly answer.
Okay, thank you. You've met to my friend from District 37, just maybe Cliff Notes version, but I'd like to know what.
Thank you very much. This is a very important committee, the trust that's been in effect for a significant number of years, and it's all about getting donated easements to be able to conserve land. And that's why it's really important, and we've been struggling with making sure we have a representative group from around the state, so we're dealing with all geographic aspects, urban, rural, various members on our board, and we've got a great board. We've spun off another foundation, so that we can have more private involvement as well with state aspects. It's an arm of DNR, and it's been very successful with the number of acres we've been able to put into conservation easements this year and other years. So thank you for your question.
Thank you for your answers, Mr. President. Thank you for the indulgence.
Thank you. All right. If there are no further questions, question is on the amendments. All in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The two committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the favorable committee report is amended. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is amended. Is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 992 is hereby ordered passed for third reader. Chair sees that the senator from District 33 would like to motion to suspend Rule 24. Are there any objections to the motion? Without objection, so ordered. The Rule 24 having been suspended, House Bill 992 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. That bill is about 5 seconds from being dead. All right, clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1003, Delegate Learman, States of Emergency Procurement and Budget Amendments, Notice and Authorization.
Chair recognizes
Favorable.
Chair of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 1003 is a cross-file of Senate Bill 780, which passes the Senate unanimously. It requires the governor or the head of a unit to notify the Legislative Policy Committee on emergency procurement, and would allow the Legislative Policy Committee to pursue an audit. There was an original other language which was taken out, and it's been removed in the House and Senate bill. There are no committee amendments. Move favorable on the report.
Floor then moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 1003 is hereby ordered passed to third reader. Majority Leader moves to suspend Rule 24. Are there any objections to this Majority Leader's motion? Without objection, so ordered. The motion carries. House Bill 1003 is now on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? Yes, Chair recognizes the senator from District 34.
Yes. Full Leader, you for a quick question on this one?
Floor is reviewed.
Sure.
Is this thing in any? I'm sorry. This bill is it in any way conflict with the bill that we passed earlier today, or whichever legislative day that was, dealing with the emergency, the governor's emergency powers?
No. It simply says that if there is an emergency procurement, they have to notify the Legislative Policy Committee within 72 hours.
Okay, and that doesn't duplicate what we have to do under the other bill on emergency notifications?
No. And again, it doesn't give the LPC the authority to stop any procurement. It really is a transparency issue.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. On the bill, any further discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. House Bill 1003, having received 47 votes in the affirmative and a constitutional majority, is declared passed. All right, we had some special orders that we missed before. We had one, House Bill 480.
Mr. President.
Yes, Senator.
I have a question. We just completed the EHE's calendar 68, I believe.
Yes, Senator.
For 3 days now, we've had calendar 58, which has one bill on it. It's a Cecil County bill. I was wondering, this is the third day now. It's kind of unfinished business, I guess. I was wondering, are we going to take that up?
Senator, genuinely do not know. I do not know if it's on the calendar. We've got conference committees. We've got concurrences. Genuinely not sure.
Okay, I just had that concern because we're up to 68 now, and calendar 58's continually skipped over. So if you take that into consideration, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you, Senator. We'll do. Thank you. We got a lot of reports up here. A lot of reports. All right. Let's go to, this was special order, House Bill 480. I think it's on second.
House Bill 480, Delegate Barvey, Vehicle Laws, Plug-in Electric Drive Vehicles, Reserved Parking Spaces, JPR.
Didn't we just special order this? No? Oh, this is the one, yes. Chair recognizes the senator from Baltimore County.
Yes, Mr. President, I believe the senator from the Upper Shore had a question.
Oh, yes, Senator from District 36.
Thank you, Mr. President. The floor leader will yield.
The floor leader yield.
Yeah.
My question involved the signage for these parking spaces, on who was being required to purchase these signs, maintain and install them. Did that come up in the bill hearing?
Not really in the bill hearing, but it's in the fiscal note. I could tell you what the fiscal note says about that.
Okay.
So it says general fund revenues may increase minimally beginning in fiscal year 2022, undoubtedly because of the $100 citations for illegally parking. And then it goes, expenditures increase minimally for various state agencies to procure signs in fiscal year 2022. Thereafter, any such costs associated with new charging spaces can likely be absorbed within existing budgeted resources. So there was no actual number that they provided.
No, that goes back to my question. Who's purchasing the signs?
Well,
I understand that the initial part of the bill had to do with the fines. If you were parked illegally in an electric vehicle parking spot, you could get fined. But then the bill spoke a little bit about the actual signs themselves and how they were being paid for.
Excuse me, Senator, just a moment. Chair recognizes the senator from Montgomery County. For purpose of Senator Rise.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'd like to move the special order of this bill to the next calendar.
All right, Senator moves to special order the bill until after the next calendar. Are there any objections? Without objection, so ordered. The bill will be special ordered. We've got another special order calendar, HB 769, if we could pull that one up. Clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 769, Montgomery County Delegation, Montgomery County Housing Opportunities Commission, Public Body, Montgomery County 721, favorable.
Let's see. Chair recognizes the chair of the committee. Chair of Judicial Proceedings? Nope. Special order? Special order until subsequent calendar. Any objections? If not, so ordered. All right, we got a concurrence calendar we didn't have ready before, which was Senate Bill 401. 401. If we could pull up 401. This is a concurrence. This is one that was on a calendar, I think, that we didn't have the floor leader.
Senate Bill 401, Senator Carter, Landlord-Tenant Non-Renewal of Lease Notice Requirements, JPR.
Chair recognizes the chair of the committee on the House amendments.
Thank you, very much, Mr. President. So the House amendments make technical correction and amend the notice under the bill for the termination of tenancies in a property that is being foreclosed upon. Under the House's amendments, if certain landlords receive notice of an intent to foreclose on the property and desires to terminate the tenancy, the landlord shall provide the tenant specified written notice of the intent to terminate the tenancy. The committee concurs.
All right, the committee moves to concur on the House amendments. Any discussion on the House amendments? Chair recognizes the minority whip.
Yeah, this is actually somewhat of a controversial bill, as I remember. Can you just, I know we're in a time rush, but can you explain what is the to the floor leader could yield, so I can understand what we've done here in conference?
Will the floor leader yield? The chair.
Sure. I will, if I may, Mr. President, the chair of the committee.
Yield to the sponsor of the bill. Sponsor of the bill.
Whoever, I defer to whoever the chairman of the floor leader, whoever would like to.
Would the floor leader yield to the question? Senator may proceed.
Thank you. So, what is the time frame that this new notice that we're agreeing to in conference? What is the time frame that they have to give the landlord?
So I don't think hold up. Can you hold for a second?
Yeah.
Do you want to put this over for one moment? I just want to get the report.
Why don't we do this? Well, can we special order it until I do the next concurrence and come right back to it?
Sure.
All right, let's, without objection, let's special order until after the next concurrence. We've got is 888. I think this was another one that was not ready. If we could pull that up, clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 888, Senator Bidle, Anne Arundel County Speed Monitoring Systems, Maryland Route 175, Jessup Road, JPR.
Chair recognizes Chair of the Committee on the House Amendments.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. As passed by the Senate, the bill authorized the placement of a speed camera in Anne Arundel County on Maryland's Route 175, which is Jessup Road, between Route 175 and 295 interchange. The House amendments require that any fines collected from this camera after cost recovery can be used for roadway and pedestrian improvements in the area, and require a sign-in with real-time display of the driver's speed in the proximity of the speed camera, and provide that the bill terminates within 5 years. We concur with the amendments.
All right, the committee concurs with the House amendments. Any discussion on the amendments? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The House amendments are adopted. Senate Bill 888 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, oh yes, I'm sorry. Chair recognizes.
Just like to explain my vote real quickly. I mean, clearly this year we've completely busted up the speed camera law that was in the state, and one of the main provisions of that was not only not doing these breakout roads and putting them on interstates and everything else like we're doing these bills, but also that the money had to go to pay for the devices and for public safety, because we're replacing police officers holding radar cameras. And so this bill, and there's a couple others that came up this year that start to divert that into other projects. And so it's pretty obvious what's happening here is we're going to have a vast expansion over the next couple of years of speed cameras and diverting the money all into different projects.
All right, any further senators wish to explain their vote? Chair recognizes Senator from District 36. Has 2 minutes to explain his vote.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And I would agree. I mean, normally we would go and be in favor of these local bills as a courtesy, but I think we're seeing very much this year over and over again that these speed monitoring cameras are now being used as revenue sources. Yes, they might be in a position where they look that they're trying to be safe, but at the end of the day, we know that they're trying to pick up money from citizens that are driving and starting to put revenue in sources that are not related directly to the roads and the maintenance that's required from, and that's the only reason I'm voting no for it.
All right, are there any further senators wish to explain their vote? Yes, Chair recognizes the Minority Leader.
Thank you. And I just wanted to explain my vote opposed to talking on the bill. My concern with this is one community association wants a speed camera. We have hundreds of community associations, and now I see each one coming to our office saying, put a piece of legislation in for my community and this community and that community. I think if we wanted to do it, we should have done it at the county level. I don't think this is the way we should have done it, and that's why I voted against it.
Mr. President.
All right, Chair recognizes the senator from District 5. Has 2 minutes to explain his vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to explain my vote that's no. I don't like voting against bills that have a local bill. I know that that's sort of something we try to avoid doing. We try to go with local courtesy. I think to echo what some of my colleagues have said, there is a concern about this being expanded and getting more and more of these piecemeal projects. I know that the sponsor of the bill is concerned about safety on that stretch of road, but I have a big concern about further expanding speed cameras, not just because they tend to be focused on revenue generation, but also I have concern because there's a real discussion happening in this country about privacy and civil liberties. We're talking a lot about big tech and big data. Speed cameras are a part of that privacy issue, and sometimes when you sacrifice certain rights and privacies for safety, you can end up getting neither. So that's why my vote is red. It's nothing personal against a particular delegation, obviously, but it's just because, again, I think that the speed camera thing needs to be revisited on the whole, certainly not added to. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Our chair recognizes the senator from District 34. Has 2 minutes to explain his vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I think it's important that this issue of tying these into general fund revenues, the problem we run into is that we've seen repeatedly jurisdictions who take advantage of these things. I mean, you can do things like a short yellow, moving the cameras around, really kind of a gotcha mentality where if the focus was just safety and the money's going into safety, it reduces those temptations. But the reality is that jurisdictions we've seen in the past how jurisdictions do the quick yellows to get people on these, moving them around on the speed cameras to try to really trap people, and it's not appropriate. So I thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes the senator from Baltimore County has 2 minutes to explain his vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. I voted in favor of this bill, and that's because our committee was presented with graphic testimony as well as photographs of a particular house which has been crashed into under several occasions, and they made a strong case as to why a speed camera was needed in that particular area. In general, I'm opposed to speed cameras, especially when they're positioned so that they will get people from another jurisdiction and give them tickets, as was the case a couple of days ago with the Jones Falls Expressway. So I draw a distinction between the Jones Falls case, which I opposed, and this bill, which I'm supporting.
Thank you, Senator. All right, any further senators wish to explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call.
Mr. President?
Yeah.
Where? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, with 35 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 888, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Look, we got about an hour and 15 minutes left. I think we all know where we are, senators. We got a lot of important stuff left in the next hour. If we want to play games, we can play games, but we got work to do for the people of Maryland. So let's make a decision about what we're doing. If there's issues that we got to work on, we can work on them. But we got work to do in the last hour. So just know we got stuff to do. We all clear? All right. Let's go to the conference committee report. House Bill 12. Clerk will read the bill. House Bill 12.
House Bill 12, Delegate C. Watson, alcoholic beverages, sale or delivery for off-premises consumption.
All right, let's pull it up.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes the senator from Anne Arundel as the chair of the conference committee report.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is the same as House Bill 205. We basically changed it a little to let the local Board of Licensing approve the regulations opposed to the county. And we also kept the study in there, but we added the Alcohol and Tobacco Commission to that study. And I would move to adopt the committee report.
All right, Senator moves to adopt the committee report, conference committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The conference committee report is adopted. House Bill 12 is again before us on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 45 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 12, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. We've got another conference committee report. This is House Bill 421. Clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 421, Delegate Rosenberg, income tax distribution, tax clinics for low-income Marylanders.
All right, Chair of the Conference Committee, Senator from Montgomery County. On the report, on the Conference Committee report. Budget and tax.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. We're moving to concur with the amendment. We're going to adopt the Conference Committee report. This is the same posture that the Senate bill passed out unanimously out of this chamber to help low-income Marylanders with their tax clinics. I move adoption of the Conference Committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the Conference Committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The Conference Committee report is adopted. House Bill 421 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 421, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Next, we've got House Bill 289, Conference Committee report. Clerk will read.
House Bill 289, Delegate Atterbury, Police Orders, Workplace Violence.
Chair recognizes Conference Committee Chairman, District 44, on the report.
Thank you, Mr. President. If you all remember, this bill is about peace orders and peace orders that could be filed by employers. The conference committee, we rejected the amendments that were placed on by judicial proceedings, and we came up with a compromise amendment which keeps the immunity provision in, and then in 2 years it will be repealed. Move the amendment as well as the conference report.
All right, the senators moved the adoption of the Conference Committee report. Any discussion on the report? Chair recognizes the senator from District 7. Nope. On the report, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The Conference Committee report is adopted. Are there any, House Bill 289 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? Chair recognizes the senator from Baltimore County.
Thank you, Mr. President. Could I ask a question of the sponsor of the amendment? Could you just
will
please...
will the chair of the Conference Committee yield? Senator may proceed.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. President. Could you please tell us what the amendment says? We spent a lot of time on this bill.
What it said or what it does?
What it does.
All right, so essentially it puts it in the posture of what the original bill was, right? And then in 2 years, the immunity provision that the Senate that was in the original bill is removed, and it then looks like what we adopted in the Senate.
Okay, it puts it back in an earlier posture. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you, senators. All right, any further discussion on the bill? If not, House Bill 289 is on third reader, final passage. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 289, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. We've got some Senate bills for concurrence. Let's go to calendar 41. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 327, Senator Wallstreicher, Civil Actions, Financial Exploitation of Susceptible Adults and Older Adults, Maryland SAFE Act, JPR.
Chair recognizes the Vice Chair on the House amendments.
Thank you. The motion is to concur with the House amendments, which simply strike a misdrafted portion.
All right. The committee moves for us to adopt the House amendments. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The House amendments are adopted. Senate Bill 327 is again before us on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 327, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. All right, we got more Senate bills. This is calendar 50. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 49, Senator Lease, State Government, Department of Information Technology, Cybersecurity, EHE.
All right, Chair, let's see. Concurrence. Chair recognizes the chair of the committee on the House amendments. No. EHE. Senator from District 9. Do we have this one? Calendar 50. Let's go to the chair. Chair of the committee.
It's a wonderful bill, Mr. President. No, I believe this was amended to conform to the other bill. All
right, does
let's
the
special
chairman
order this till later.
Does the chairman yield to the senator from District 9?
I'd be happy to.
Okay, senator from District 9 on the House amendments.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill does just simply conform to the House version of this bill. It leaves the Attorney General as consulting and advising on the cybersecurity posture of the state. We accept the committee report and we look forward to passing it favorably.
All right, the committee moves that we adopt the House amendments. Any discussion on the amendments? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The House amendments are adopted. The Senate Bill 49 is now before us on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 49, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 82, Senator Augustine, State Board of Examiners for Audiologists, hearing aid dispensers, and speech language pathologists, Maryland Music Therapists Act, EHE.
Chair recognizes the Chair of the Committee on the House Amendments.
Thank you, Mr. President. This requires the licensure of music therapists within the State Board of Examiners for audiologists, hearing aid dispensers, and speech-language pathologists. The House Amendment makes several alterations to civil and criminal penalties and misrepresentation provisions. The Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs Committee recommends to concur.
All right, the committee moves for us to adopt the House amendments. Any discussion on those amendments? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The House amendments are adopted. Senate Bill 82 is again before us on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 82, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 946, Senator Bailey, Historic St. Mary's City Fort to 400 Commission, EHE.
Chair recognizes the Chair of the Committee on the House Amendments.
Yeah, Mr. President, we passed the House bill. All this does is change the composition of the commission. We would concur with the House.
All right, the Senate moves that we concur with the House amendments. Question is on the amendments. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The House amendments are adopted. Senate Bill 946 is again before us on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 946, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 420, Senator Carter, Criminal Law, Drug Paraphernalia for Administration, Decriminalization, JPR.
Chair recognizes the sponsor of the bill and the House amendments.
Thank you, Mr. President. As passed by the Senate, this bill alters the statutory provisions related to controlled paraphernalia, the prohibition on the use or possession of the intent to use drug paraphernalia, penalties for offenses involving controlled paraphernalia and drug paraphernalia. The House amendments restore the provisions of the bill by altering the prohibition delivering or selling or manufacturing or possessing with intent to deliver or sell drug paraphernalia. The committee moves to concur in the House amendments.
All right, the committee moves that we adopt the House amendments. Chair recognizes the Senator for District 5 on the amendments.
Thank you. Would the floor leader yield for questioning?
Will the floor leader yield? Senator may proceed.
I'm trying to be sure I understand what you just said about the House amendments. You're saying that they, and let me see if I'm getting this right. What we sent over, we had taken administering out of the bill, and now they've put it back into where it legalizes paraphernalia for administering. Do I have that right?
Distribution or delivering. And I'll tell you why. So we took, in an abundance of caution, the Senate removed that language, thinking that we wanted to make it clear that we were trying to help users and deal with, the overdose crisis. And there was concern about that language. But since that time, one of the persons that is certified in the program actually had her husband be arrested for an attempt to secure legally the items that she needed, life-sustaining items, and her husband was arrested apparently for distribution, because we're talking, even when we have these words in here like deliver, administer, distribute, or even sale, we're not talking about high-volume items. We're talking about items geared toward use, not something else.
So can I, and I hope I wasn't interrupting to say this, I'm trying to understand what's back in the bill, because what I'm looking at is a reprint that I think was what we sent over that says now it's purposes of illegally manufacturing, distributing, or dispersing, and we struck administering. So is administering back in the bill? I'm honestly trying to make sure I understand.
Okay. Page 2 from 27 down.
I'm sorry. Can you the microphone? Sorry. That's okay.
Page 2 from 27 down is out of the bill.
Out of the bill. So So the House amendments, and feel free to tell me if I'm wrong here, the House amendments have struck everything out. So you can manufacture, distribute, or dispense paraphernalia now, if we pass the bill as is.
No. I'm saying no, but I'm still trying to piece it together. So, distribution, delivery, and administer is back in the bill. Yes.
Can you?
I'm sorry, I've got it now. Page 3, 28. Possess or distribute controlled paraphernalia under circumstances which reasonably indicate an intention to use controlled paraphernalia for the purpose of illegal manufacture, distribute, or dispensing a controlled dangerous substance. So I think that, if I may, because I know the language is a little confusing.
Please.
But I just want to make it clear that we're talking about paraphernalia for the use of these things. We're not talking about any drugs at all, like actual drugs. So when you hear these terms, I know that we tend to think about drug distribution or drug dealing, but that's not what this bill deals with. It's only talking about the paraphernalia.
Yes, and it's a good reminder. I would say that if we're talking about striking out a complete section relative to distributing or dispensing or manufacturing drug paraphernalia, that would imply that it's being done for the purposes of helping people use illegal drugs and sell illegal drugs, as opposed to a medical supply company manufacturing syringes is obviously legitimate. So am I clear on that we're now saying that we've basically said it's not really going to be illegal for anybody to distribute, dispense, or manufacture heroin paraphernalia if we pass the bill with the House amendments, or am I misunderstanding?
Well, we're not saying actually illegal in any part of the bill. We're saying that it's decriminalized where they wouldn't be arrested.
Well, we had this debate when the bill left here. We're saying it's decriminalized, but we literally left no fine, no citation, nothing. So we basically are making it completely legal, right? I mean, there's nothing, or has something been added in the bill to penalize if there's a drug dealer with massive amounts of paraphernalia and he's caught with no drugs but a bunch of paraphernalia, and it's obvious he's not like a health worker or something like that. I mean, there's nothing in the bill that would say he could be fined or cited, right? I mean, that's correct. Am I correct?
It's incorrect in theory, because the types of items that are typically used for that type of illegal sale, such as bags and scales and glassine caps and those kinds of items, are not allowed in the bill. The bill really does try to focus on the needle, the syringe, those items.
But in my view, there's clearly an unintended consequence here with these amendments, where as it left here, and I didn't vote for the bill as it left here in the interest of full disclosure, but as it left here, we were talking about someone having a syringe or spoons and syringes and things they were using to inject themselves with heroin or another kind of drug. And I don't really agree with us decriminalizing that, but I understand that's a policy decision. But now with these House amendments, and Mr. President, I'm asking, this is not a tactic. I honestly, because we don't have it very clearly because of the way this works at this time of the year, I'm very deeply concerned about basically decriminalizing, to use the language of the bill, but really just totally making legal the manufacture, distributing, dispensing, and administering of paraphernalia that can be done for a controlled dangerous substance like heroin. I really would urge the body to resist the House amendments. Now, I know what that means at this late hour, but I'm very concerned. I wish I could offer an amendment to change it back. I know that's not how it works here, because we're in the last hour and 15 minutes, but I really don't think we want to be voting, Mr. President, to decriminalize all paraphernalia as it relates to someone manufacturing, distributing, or dispensing that can be, any of this stuff. I don't think that's a good thing for us to leave here doing, Mr. President. That I'd urge the body to resist. I don't know if there's a way for us to special order this to delay it so we could see if there's a way to work this out. But this is not good policy.
So, Mr. President, members of the body, I would definitely urge us to resist the special order. There's a couple of things that are getting kind of obfuscated in this dialogue. I said this earlier when we first dealt with this bill, that pharmacies all over the state are already able to legally dispense these, but there are some areas where they have these programs outside of the pharmacies, and those persons are certified to distribute these items. What they testified to, and what more information we've even received since we passed the bill that they emailed, they wrote us that a husband of one of their clients or patients or recipients is a better word, was arrested because he picked up these items that his spouse needed, and they call them life-sustaining items, and he was arrested for distribution. And so the reason it's important to have those words in the bill, and they wanted it to begin with, like they never really agreed to our taking them out through our own amendment. They needed it in there so that they would be able to distribute these items to the people that need them. I really don't think that we have to worry about this, unintended consequence of massive volume of paraphernalia distribution going decriminalized. That's not what this bill is intended to. The language is really narrowly tailored to users and to people that do it. And we haven't really had any other bills that I'm aware of that dealt this hands-on with the overdose epidemic that we still continue to have in Maryland. So for all of those reasons, it's a good bill. I'd ask that we would accept our concurrence with the House amendments and pass the bill. Thank you.
The chair recognizes the majority leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to move to limit debate.
Could we please ring the bells?
Pursuant to the provisions of Senate Rule 77B, debate on Senate Bill 420 shall be limited to 10 minutes in the aggregate for consideration of third reading and final passage, and on all subsequent questions and motions so related to the third reading and other actions. The President shall allocate the 10 minutes aggregate time among those senators desiring to speak thereon, provided that not more than 5 minutes shall be allocated for the proponents and not more than 5 minutes shall be allocated for the opponents of such bill.
All right, the majority leader moves to limit debate. This is a non-debatable question. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 32 in the affirmative, the motion passes. There are 5 minutes for the proponents, 5 minutes for the opponents. Chair recognizes the senator from District 5.
Thank you, Mr. President. Wow, I really am surprised that we would have done a motion to limit debate on wiping away any illegality of heroin paraphernalia, drug paraphernalia of any kind. So according to this bill, not just someone caught with it that might be a drug user. And by the way, if we can talk about the story for a minute that's been told by my colleague, that seems unfortunate that someone who's trying to help people and is trying to comply with the current law was arrested. But I don't think we need to dramatically change our entire policy as it relates to heroin paraphernalia because of a misunderstanding. There would be very easy ways to clarify the law, to provide some sort of card or some sort of identification for people who are legitimately engaging in the handing out of free heroin needles. There's plenty of ways to do that without basically saying that someone who has a huge stockpile of heroin paraphernalia can just have it around. It's fine. Please come in. As long as there's no actual heroin there, nothing to see here. Move along. I honestly am really very surprised. I actually thought there would be some agreement that we should maybe take a breath on this. And the limiting debate, that one maybe caught me a little by surprise too. I honestly was asking legitimate questions here, and I think that this is a bad bill and it's a bad vote. And you already voted to limit debate, so I mean that's the vote. But I mean this bill, it is a huge overreach. If I'm interpreting correctly, and that so far I've tried to make sure I'm not misunderstanding, that we are completely, I don't care, you can call it decriminalizing if you want. We are legalizing people having stockpiles of drug paraphernalia, not just for administering drugs to themselves, but we struck the whole thing that what we sent out of here said you can't be manufacturing drug paraphernalia, you can't be distributing, you can't be dispensing it. But you can have it if it's for administering a drug kind of to yourself. Or maybe we would have even, I think the way it applied would have been if you have some amongst yourselves of a few people. But this is literally striking all that language and saying, nope, if you're distributing on a massive scale drug paraphernalia, it's decriminalized. And not just decriminalized, we can't even fine you. We can't even cite you or fine you. If we know you're a drug dealer and we know you're distributing drugs, but you don't have any drugs on you at the time, we catch you with paraphernalia, we can't even cite you. It's incredible to me. It's actually breathtaking. In the middle of a situation where overdoses are rising, that this is a bill we're passing with this far. Again, the bill we passed out of here I was strongly against. But there was a rationale, perhaps, to say, hey, if you catch somebody that has a couple needles and it's for their own use, we don't want to be criminalizing those people. This is going so far beyond that. It's so far beyond it. And I honestly, I can't, it's hard for me to believe that this is the way we're going to end session. It's a huge mistake. It is a huge mistake, Mr. President. I would strongly urge the body to vote against this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. All right, Chair recognizes the senator from the 34th District. Senator has
Thank you, Mr. President. This is one of those
15
bills
seconds.
that the law of unintended consequences is going to really come back to bite us, because what we're doing here is de facto creating a strong black market for all of this paraphernalia. I mean, currently the law enforcement could simply say, you have all this stuff, you shouldn't have it. Now folks will be able to steal, it'll encourage folks to steal warehouses full of these things, steal them from doctors, steal them from hospitals, knowing that once they get it outside the hospital or the doctor's office, they can freely sell this stuff. There's no prohibition on that. So, I mean, these things aren't serial numbered or anything. So folks dealing in medical supplies, folks dealing in the hospitals, medical centers, all they got to do is get boxes of this stuff outside, and they can just sell it. So then we're undermining the free exchanges and stuff. We're going into competition with our own efforts here by allowing people to basically open up their own little for-profit deals. I mean, your heroin distributors can become the heroin distributor of choice, because not only give you the drug, I'll give you the needle, I'll give you the syringes and everything else along with the drug, because what the heck?
Senator's time expired.
Thank you.
It's 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr.
Senator.
President.
All right, the question before the body is on the concurrence of the House amendments. All in favor of the House amendments say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The House amendments are adopted. Senate Bill 420 is now before the body for third reading and final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? Chair, in explaining his vote, Senator from the 38th District, the time has expired. I'm sorry. Chair, as a proponent of the bill, the war on drugs has failed. It's failed. It has fundamentally failed. We have destroyed segments of our society. If we do not have a new approach to drugs, we'll continue down the same path. So just as the Senator mentioned about juveniles, if we keep doing the same thing, we will keep seeing where we are, and we have an absolute scourge of overdoses and drug abuse in this country, and we have to take a different approach. For that reason, I will be supporting this bill. The clerk will take the call. With 28 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 420, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. All right, we have some yeas and nays. Let's just quickly read these across so we can clear them. This is message number 11, from 11 through 17. The clerk will start reading the message.
Senate Bill 95, Senator Kramer, Public
All right, we're in the right
Utilities.
spot. The majority leader moves that we waive the reading of the bills. All right, we've got a concurrence calendar, Senate Bill, calendar number 53. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 563, Senator Griffith, Local Health Departments Funding, Budget and Taxation.
Chair recognizes the Chair of the Committee on the House Amendments.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee concurs with the House amendments on the Senate Bill. Senate Bill 563 established a new base level of funding for local health services. The House amendment pushed back the funding requirements 2 years to start in fiscal 2025. Move to concur with the House amendments.
All right, the Chair moves that we adopt the House amendments. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The House amendments are adopted. Senate Bill 563 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 563, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. All right, we've got 52, concurrence calendar 52. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 55, Senator Signor, Legislative Department Eligibility to Serve as Senators and Delegates, Place of Abode, EHE.
Chair recognizes Chair of the Committee on the House amendments.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 55 changes just a few words in the law from reside in to have an abode, meaning you have to spend your nights in the location within your district. The House has added a couple of amendments. They wanted to say primary place of abode, and they also wanted to defer this till January 1, 2024. The committee will concur. We think it's an important bill, and we encourage passage.
All right, the Chair moves, committee moves that we adopt the House amendments. Any discussion on them? Chair recognizes Senator from 34th District on the amendment.
Floor to yield for a brief question.
Will the Chairman yield? Senator may proceed.
So,
Sure.
So primary place of abode, doesn't that substantially weaken the bill? I mean, how do we determine my primary place of abode from my other place of abode? Aren't we? I mean, it sounds like we're substantially weakening the bill with that.
Well, the existing language says resident, and our understanding of the use of the word abode, whether it's abode or primary abode, is where you spend most of your nights and you have proof that is where you are actually living in a real way. So we think as long as abode is in the language, and I'd be happy to defer to the sponsor of the bill, we think it accomplishes, the goal. We shouldn't be electing people who don't live in their district. And there have been cases, and obviously there are always allegations of that kind of situation. We just want to be explicitly clear that is where they put their head on the pillow most nights, not every one. Where you vote, you pay taxes. We think it should be in that primary residence and not a secondary
And I totally agree with the general concept of the bill, but I mean, I've seen cases in my own county where people with two different, you got a house that you lease out, and then you have the house where we all know you truly live, and then it seems like, it's almost to me like kind of weakening this to
well,
you have a residence, that's where you
without
live.
getting too nuanced, you might lay your head at another place that's not your primary place for whatever reason, whether it be a partner or whatever. So I think they put in the language of primary. We think it still accomplishes the task. If we don't do anything, we think it leaves open opportunities that don't complement the voters.
Okay, so you think it strengthens it? Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate
and at this point, at 11:17,
okay,
sending it back would kill the bill. And
no
we've
problem.
got
I
ground
support
zero.
the bill, so all right, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, questions on the amendments? On the amendments, any further discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The House amendments are adopted. Senate Bill 55 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 55 having received a constitutional majority is declared passed. All right, we got to get back to some House bills now. These are third readers that have a chance of making it. Let's see, calendar 57. Clerk will read the first bill. Third reader House bills. Unamended.
House Bill 19, Delegate Homes, Residential Real Estate Transaction, Escrow Agents and Trust Money.
House Bill 19 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 19 having received a constitutional majority is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 180, Delegate Clippinger, Juvenile Sexting.
House Bill 180 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 180 having received a constitutional majority is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 477, Delegate Pippi, Court order to use a cell site simulator or obtain location information from an electronic device. Procedures.
House Bill 477 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 477 having received a constitutional majority is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 681, Delegate Buckle, Task Force to Study the Maryland's Orphans Court.
House Bill 681 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 681 having received a constitutional majority is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 829, Delegate Learman, Economic Development, Small Business Financing, Loan Loss Reserve, Maryland Capital Access Program.
House Bill 829 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 829 having received a constitutional majority is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1349, Delegate Sample Hughes, Public Health, Maryland Prenatal and Infant Care Grant Program Fund.
House Bill 1349 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 1349 having received a constitutional majority is declared passed. Let's see, we've got 59. These are third readers unamended. Clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 1016, Delegate M. Fisher, Calvert County, Alcoholic Beverages Licenses Annual Fees.
House Bill 1016 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 1016 having received a constitutional majority is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1180, Delegate Hill, Property Tax Credit, Airport Noise Zones Eligibility.
House Bill 1180 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 1180 having received a constitutional majority is declared passed. All right, we've got House Bill 61. Senators, this will require us to suspend the rules, so let's pull the bill up. If there are any objections to suspending the rules, we'll see what we do with it. Or we just could do that. Well, let's see. Do we have anything else it doesn't require? Those are good. Let's do these Senate bills. Let's just get them across the finish line. All right, 70, calendar 70, third reading House bills, calendar 70. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 582, Senator Heddleman, Commercial Tenants, Personal Liability Clauses, Enforceability. This is an emergency bill.
Senate Bill 582 is on third reader for final passage. This is an emergency bill. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 34 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 582 having received a constitutional majority is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 955, Senator Eckert, Local Government Tort Claims Act, Cambridge Waterfront Development Incorporated.
Senate Bill 955 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 955 having received a constitutional majority is declared passed. Senators, call your friends on the other side. They've got a long way to go. But you never know. A lot can happen in the last 45 minutes. All right, let's do this. Let's go ahead and adjourn for the day for a minute. Chair let's do a quorum call for, we don't have to do a quorum call? All right, then we're all here. Chair recognizes the majority leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate of Maryland adjourn till the next legislative day.
All right, 11:24.
11:24.
Without objection, so ordered. I hope everyone had a wonderful sleep. Call the Senate to order. We will waive the reading of the invocation this morning, and we will waive the reading of the journal from the prior legislative day. We have some bills on third reading. We have Calendar 61. The clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 548, Delegate R. Lewis, Human Services, Trauma-Informed Care, Commission and Training, Healing Maryland's Trauma Act.
House Bill 548 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? Oh, I'm sorry. One moment, please. It was a long night of sleep. Calendar 61. All right, let's try Calendar 65.
House Bill 309, Delegate Pena-Milnick, Public Health, Data, Race, and Ethnicity Information.
All right, House Bill 309 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 309 having received a constitutional majority is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 600, Delegate Belcastro, State Board of Examiners for Audiologists, Hearing Aid Dispensers, and Speech-Language Pathologists, Duties, Appointment of Members, and Requirements for Licensees.
House Bill 600 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 600, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Can I change my vote on House Bill 13?
They'll have that in possession, 1349, from green to red. Any objections to the Senator's motion? Without objection, so ordered. Are we on six? Do we have, let's see if we've got 61. All right. 548. We're getting close. Tension's rising. Almost there. While we're waiting, all right, House Bill 548, all right, is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 548, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. All right, let's see. We've got calendar 63. 63. Calendar 63. Starts with 836.
House Bill 836, Delegate Pena-Milnick, COVID-19 Testing, Contact Tracing, and Vaccination Act of 2021. This emergency bill.
All right. House Bill 836 is on third reading for final passage. It's an emergency bill. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 836, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 987, Delegate Chi, Economic Development Comprehensive Technical Assistance Program Establishment.
House Bill 987 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 987, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Let's see, we've got calendar 64.
House Bill 507, Delegate, House Bill 647, Delegate Wilson, Corporations and Association Fees for Processing Articles of Dissolution, Certificates of Cancellation, and other documents repealed.
House Bill 647 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 647, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Okay, let's see. We've got that Montgomery County bill. That was local bill and Baltimore County. We had two local bills that we had a special order. We weren't quite ready for them. House Bill 468, if we could pull that up. I think this was on second reader, maybe. On that count? No, we don't.
Mr. President.
Oh, I'm sorry. We missed a bill on that calendar. We missed a bill on the calendar. Apologies. It was under the rubber band. So before we get to that, let's read the next bill on 64. Is that what the senator was bringing up on Senator from 36?
Mr. President, I just wanted to make sure you were going to get to House Bill 769. As some reason I had special ordered.
Let's get this one out of the way first. We got 784.
House Bill 784, Delegate Terrassa, Residential Construction and Electric Vehicle Charging.
Call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. Lots of dancing on this one. All right. With 40 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 784, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Let's bring up 468. 468. These bills are living on the edge.
House Bill 468, Delegate Forbes, Baltimore County School Board Nominating Commission vacancy, favorable with two amendments.
Chair recognizes Senator from District 12.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 468 requires the Baltimore County Board of Education Nominating Commission to hold a public hearing, that these hearings be live streamed and that they can reactivate vacancy applications for 2 years. There's two committee amendments. The first one's technical. The second one allows commission members to be removed by the governor if the county executive agrees. Move the adoption of two of the committee amendments in the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of two committee amendments in the favorable committee report. Oh, two committee amendments. It's going to be close. On the amendments, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The two committee amendments are adopted. Question now on the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 468 is hereby ordered passed to third reader. Chair recognizes Senator from District 12, who now moves to suspend Rule 24. Are there any objections to the Senator's motion to suspend Rule 24 for two readings in the same day? Hearing none, without objection, Rule 24 is now suspended. House Bill 468 is now before us on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 468, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Someone talk to the committee chair over there. All right.
Mr. President.
Where did that Montgomery County one go? Yes, we have it. I found it. We have it. Was that the senator from, who is the senator from 35?
District 5, just
District
asking
5.
for a vote change on
yes.
House Bill 784, just to green to red, please.
784, green to red. Any objections? Without objection, so ordered. I lost it. 469. 469. House Bill 469. What?
769.
769? Montgomery, here we go. Excellent. All right, 769. Where are we?
House Bill
recognizes-
76.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
recognizing.
Please read. Thank you. Yes. Chair recognizes the chair on the.
Thank you, Mr. President. All right, House Bill 769 just clarifies that the Committee of Montgomery County Housing Opportunities Commission is a public body for the purposes of the Open Meetings Act. There were no committee amendments and move adoption of the favorable committee report.
All right, floor then moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion on the report? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 769 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Chair recognizes the chair of the Montgomery County delegation who seeks to waive Rule 24.
Exactly.
Any objections to the senator's motion? Without objection, so ordered. The motion carries. Rule 24 having been suspended, House Bill 769 is now before us on third reading for final passage. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 769, by the skin of its teeth, is ordered passed. All right. That was third, right? Yep, is now done. Okay, so let me quickly, before I forget, can we do a quick thank you to some people? Most importantly, can we really thank all of the DLS staff? That's the analysts, the editors, the managers, those in the bill room. Of course, the incredible Vicki Gruber, Executive Director, Ryan Bishop, the Director of Office of Policy Analysis, and David Romans, the Director of our budget. These folks have done remarkable work. Can we give them a huge thank you? Thank you to the entire DLS team. Additionally, and I was we may try to figure out something because the testing site will still be around, but if we could just, for the posterity's sake, if any of them are listening, God save their soul. But of the COVID testing site, Chris Mazel, who was the site manager, let me tell you, Chris was incredible. He ran such a tight shop and helped us on every single way. Keisha in this call center, Jessica with tech support, and every single one of the incredible staff who checked us in, gave us the professional nose cleaning and the results of our tests. They were just so incredible. If we could give them a round of applause. And then, when we think about this beginning of session, when we started 2 days before the session, we had, what was happening on January 6th. And so we had all of the pandemic happening. And then January 6th happened, and all of a sudden it went from pandemic preparations to what happens if something were to happen in this building in the midst of everything. And so I just want to give our Sergeant-at-Arms and all of our state troopers just a huge, huge, huge thank you through all of this. That is Steve Stewart, James Herod, Steph Bonjowski, and George White, who is up above. You all don't have the pleasance of seeing our wonderful lieutenant up there. Where's Steph? Is Steph around? Oh, Steph's behind me. That's the problem. See, George and Steph don't switch, so I never see Steph. She's watching my back. She's got my six. So thank you all. And then also to the assistants to the chairs who have been kind of steering the ship in all of the committees. We have Kim Landry in Budget and Tax, Sandy Pop in Judicial Proceedings, Lemoria Stanton in EHE, and Tammy Kraft in Finance. Thank you. Amazing, amazing, amazing committee staff. I know that they are listening, and I do. God, please save their souls because they have just kept us alive. And then, of course, the committee council on each of the committees. I don't want to steal the chair's thunder, but I just want to make sure that we are as a body, thanking these incredible folks. We have Matt, Erica, and Philip, Rick, and Nathan on finance, April, Stacy, and Alexis on EHE. Thank them all. They are just so, so, so incredible and have done remarkable, remarkable work. And then I'd like to thank my committee staff who have been with you all. You all sometimes lovingly refer to them as committee spies. But behind you all, we have Najee Bailey and Carisha Brown. Najee was with B&T and Carisha was with Finance. They are behind us in the gallery. Beth Call, who was in JPR, and Julia Schreiber and EHE. Thank you all for your great work in keeping us on track and alive. And then, of course, our amazing secretaries of the Secretary of Senate's office. They have done the remarkable. I mean, it is unbelievable on an everyday basis, keeping this place work. I keep saying it. It is amazing how much work gets done behind the scenes with Nicole, Ronnie, Andrea, Renee, Caitlin, who's probably hiding from us in the back, Nick, who became an AV specialist this year for us, Joanne and Dottie. Thank you all so much from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you for keeping us going. And then my final list here of my group, and then I know that there are many senators who wish to also probably suggest some thanks, but the incredible office team that I am so blessed to work with on an everyday basis, the most talented folks in Annapolis, truly, our amazing Chief of Staff, Jake Weissman, our incredible Deputy Chief of Staff, Sally Robb, somewhere around here, our special assistant who's helping out on every education issue, Ross Seidman. Can we bring them out? Actually, I'm going to pause. I'm going to see if we can bring them. Do we have? Well, let's of course do Robin Armstrong, who is multi-talented in the Secretary of Senate's office and in our office running the show. Robin, thank you. Casey Smith, who was the go-to on vaccines and testing. Casey, hopefully you come out here eventually. Katie was here. Is Katie around? Yep. Okay. Katie will come around. We'll catch her when she comes in. Lisa Ann. Is Lisa Ann around too? No, Lisa Ann wasn't able to hear. So we'll thank her virtually. So when folks come in, we'll stop and thank them. Oh, there's Katie. Katie Kardash, thank you. Whose parents own the amazing golf by the airport, the driving range. So if you're ever looking to take some golf lessons by the airport BWI, Katie is the person to talk to. And she's incredible and does amazing work and writes incredible letters. The one and the only Joy Walker. Tyler McCurdy, who is not here with us. I want to say thank you to Tyler. And then, did I catch everybody? I missed Casey. Hopefully, is Casey still around? Nope. Oh, she's downstairs. Okay. All right. Well, maybe she'll swing by you. All right. Okay. So let's see. Do we have anything else? So we do have a bill, calendar 58. Calendar 58.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes. Chair recognizes. Oh, let's read the bill. Hold on 1 second. All right. What? 58. All right. The clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 579, Delegate Hornberger, Cecil County, snare traps, repeal of prohibitions, favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from District 35 as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 579 removes Cecil County from the existing county-specific prohibition against the use, sale, possession, setting, placement, or maintenance of a snare trap. As a result, existing criminal penalties for violations of that provision would no longer apply to those acts in Cecil County. There were no committee amendments. I move for adoption of the favorable committee report.
All right, the floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Chair recognizes the senator from District 19.
Thank you, Mr. President. Would the floor leader be good enough to yield for a question?
Will the floor leader yield for a question?
Absolutely.
Senator may proceed.
Would you mind quickly explaining to me exactly what is a snare trap?
We'll be glad to. We'll be glad to. A snare trap is a device made of wire, synthetic cord, or other material designed to set or capture an animal and includes a pole snare, hanging snare, and neck snare. Just a few facts on that. You have to get permission from a landowner to place these traps. They are placed in areas that are not frequented by humans, dogs, etc. And if a human were to get caught in one of these, they can easily take off these traps because humans have thumbs. They're required to be checked frequently. There's a hunting license required to place these traps. Any person who traps or attempts to trap fur bearers under authority of the fur bearer permit must first obtain a certificate of trapper education from the Department of Natural Resources. Traps must be checked once per calendar day, except those traps that are set in water or tidal marshes, which must be checked once per 2 days. It is illegal to set or maintain any foothold, body gripping, or snare trap within 150 yards of a permanent human residence, and this is already legal in all but 7 counties.
Mr. President,
Yes, Senator.
I would ask, please, that this bill be special ordered to the appropriate time as you deem fit. Thank you, Mr. President.
It's 11:59, Senator.
Mr. President, I would urge the body to reject this. This has been on the floor for 3 days. This also passed in the House of Delegates 132 to 0. There was a comment earlier about somebody playing games or whatever. I think this would fall into that category, so I would strongly urge to resist that motion. Thank you.
All right, Senator, the question is on the special order. Question is on the special order. We do have a couple more calendars we do have to get to, so let's just see where we are now. On the motion to special order, if we have it on the board. All right, all in favor?
Mr. President?
Yes, yes, Chair recognizes the Minority Leader.
Let me just, if I
On the
could-
motion?
I believe this is a local bill, isn't this? So, okay, I just want to make sure. I'm sorry.
All right, appears so. All right, motion to special order. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion to special order, say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. All right, chair's in doubt. Let's go ahead and call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With, it was close, 23 in favor, the motion carries. The bill will be special ordered to the appropriate time. All right, we do have yeas and nays. This is yeas and nays, calendar number 18. Clerk will read the bill, the calendar.
Senate Bill 334, Senator Carter, Water Pollution Control, Intervention and Civil Actions, Rights
Majority
and
Leader
Authority.
moves so be considered the reading of the bills. We have an announcement to make. Don't go on vacation too early. The clerk will read the announcement.
The President makes the following appointments to the legislative standing committees pursuant to Senate Rule 18A1. The appointments are effective as of April 12, 2021.
Majority Leader moves so be considered the reading of the announcement. Senators, these are the standing and joint committees for the interim. They should be on your desk or on your computer. The work continues. The work continues. I'm being told. What? Okay. We have. Oh, well, we'll see what we can do. A couple minutes. Calendar 69. Clerk will read the bills. First bill.
House Bill 77, Delegate Stewart, Environment, Driveway Sealers, Prohibition, Safer Sealing Act of 2021. Favorable with 2 amendments.
All right. Chair recognizes the Vice Chair of the committee.
Mr. President, this state has banned a lot of chemicals with long names because they are toxic to us, our pets, and our kids. This
Senator,
latest,
do we want to lay this one over maybe?
we could lay this over.
All right. Any objections to the layover? The bill is laid over. All right. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 394, Delegate Smith, Public Schools Fees for Summer School Courses, Prohibition, favorable.
All right. This one's got a chance. Who do we have here? Chair recognizes the Senator from District 9.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill prohibits a local school from charging a student fee for enrollment in a summer school course if the student attends a school in the local school system, credit for the course is required for graduation, and the student previously took the course. It passed both Ways and Means and EHE unanimously. There were no committee amendments. I urge the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. On the report, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Question: Are there any amendments?
Suspend the rules to get a third reader.
Any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 394 is ordered passed for third reader. Chairman has moved to suspend the rules. Any objections? Without objection, the Rule 24 is suspended. House Bill 394 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 394, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 395, Delegate Adams, Business Regulation, Home Improvement Contracts, Deposits Favorable.
Mr. President,
Chair,
let's do this at the end of this calendar.
All right, let's motion to special order. Any objections to the motion? So ordered. All right, clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 501, Montgomery County Delegation, Prince George County Delegation, Washington Suburban Sanitary Commission Board of Ethics, Financial Disclosure Statements, Late Fee, Favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from District 26.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 501 is a local bill on behalf of Montgomery County and Prince George's County. In a summary, this is an ethic requirement that simply states that if a filing is late, that a fee of $5 would be assessed up to $500. There are no amendments, no financial impact. I move the adoption of a committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. On the report, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none. House Bill 501 is ordered passed for third reading. The chairman moves that we suspend Rule 24. Are there any objections to suspension of Rule 24 for two readings in the same day? Without objection, the motion carries. House Bill 501 is on third reading for final passage. Senator from District 8? Nope. All right, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 501 having received a constitutional majority is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 684, Delegate Valderrama, Professional Land Surveyor, Surveying Practice, Definition and License Exception, Favorable.
Chair recognizes Senator from District 33.
Thank you very much. House Bill 684 has to do with professional land surveyors with new technology, including drones. The bill is modifying the scope of service. No amendments. Move the favorable report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Any amendments to the bill or title? Seeing none. House Bill 684 is ordered passed for third reading.
Move to suspend 24.
Moves to suspend Rule 24. Any objections? Without objection, the motion carries. House Bill 684 is on third reading for final passage. Clerk will read the bill. The call to
Mr.
roll.
President,
Clerk will do something. Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 684, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 789, Montgomery County and Prince George County Delegations, Washington Suburban Sanitary Commission, Video and Audio Streaming and Archiving Meetings and Financial Assistance, Favorable.
Chair recognizes Senator from District 26 as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. As stated by the Secretary, that this is a local bill. This bill requires the Washington Suburban Sanitary Commission to streamline a video live stream teleconference for all open meetings. There are no amendments, no financial impact. I move the adoption of the committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 789 is ordered passed for third reading. Chair
Move to suspend the rules, Mr.
Chair
President.
moves to suspend the rules. Any objections to the senator's motion? Without objection, the motion carries. House Bill 789 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 789, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 873, State Board for Certification of Residential Child Care Program Professional Certification, Revisions, Favorable.
Chair recognizes the senator from Baltimore City as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 873 requires the State Board of Certification of Residential Child Care Programs to maintain an electronic website. Individuals without a website may contact the board to verify a certificate. There were no committee amendments. It passed the committee unanimously. I ask for adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Any amendments, bill or title? Seeing none, House Bill 873 is ordered passed for third reading. Chair moves to suspend the rules, Mr. President. 24 to reading same day. Any objections? Without objection, the motion carries. HB 873 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 873 is passed. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 1097, St. Mary's County Delegation, St. Mary's County Local Officials, Salaries Favorable.
Mr. President.
Chair recognizes Senator from District 33.
Thank you very much. House Bill 197 is a St. Mary's County local bill. Affects the salaries of local officials, including the treasurer, Board of Public Works, and the Register of Wills. No opposition, no amendments. Move the favorable report.
All right, floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none. House Bill 1097 is ordered passed for third reading.
Mr. President, suspend the rules.
Moves for the suspension of Rule 24. Any objections? Without objections, so ordered. The motion carries. House Bill 1097 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 45 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 1097, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Chair recognizes the senator from District 8.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise just for a point of personal privilege. And I would just like to just say that our friend Pat Roddy is retiring after 40 years of service to the General Assembly, and he's just done a wonderful job. He started in Baltimore County, I believe, and then he came down to Annapolis, and he's become a friend of many of us. So I just want to wish him well and have a little clap for him.
All right, thank you,
there
Senator.
we go.
Thank you,
and
Senator.
one other thing.
Yes.
We have been thanking everyone today, but as I walked to the office yesterday, the flowers and the grass and everything is beautiful, beautiful in the State House. So there are a lot of people that have worked hard on that, and I just want to thank them.
Well said. The groundskeeping crew, thank them very much. We do have one last thing. We do have another bill, House Bill 401. Senate Bill 401, we have a last Senate bill. It's a concurrence. Senator from District 37 will get in just a moment. We'll see if we can get through. Do we have it? Can we call it up? Clerk will read the bill. Senate Bill 401.
Senate Bill 401, Senator Carter, landlord, tenant, non-renewal of lease, notice requirements.
All right, this was a concurrence. Question is on the House amendments. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the House amendments say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The House amendments are adopted. Senate Bill 401 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion?
Mr. President?
Yes, Chair recognizes Senator from District 5.
I think it would be a good idea for the body to be reminded about what this bill does. And this extends extensively the amount of time that any and all landlords have to give notice to people who are in their property, renting their property.
Senator, Chair recognizes the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr.
And
President.
I think-
I'd like to move to a motion to limit debate pursuant to the provisions of Senate Rule 77B. Debate on SB 401 shall be limited to 2 minutes in the aggregate. For consideration of third reading and final passage, and on all subsequent questions and motions so related to the third reading and other actions, the President shall allocate the 2 minutes aggregate time among those senators.
All right, the question is on the motion. On the motion, any motion is non-debatable. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
On the motion. All right, has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 32 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 401, the motion carries. The 1 minute on proponents, 1 minute opponents. Chair recognizes Senator from District 5 as 1 minute.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. You know, it's interesting. We got done helping out, helping out different people in our state with this session. Now we're trying to do something about landlords operating their property as they see fit. And we've done a lot of things this session that could be extremely far-reaching and have a lot of unintended consequences. So I'm impressed that we planned out to get to a point where it's so important to pass this bill that we're here until 11:55 tonight. We couldn't, of course, pass a reasonable bill from a gentleman from the Eastern Shore about building contracts, which was special order to the end of the counter when it could have very easily been passed. I don't know if it's just because he was a Republican or not. Couldn't take the time to to at least give a fair hearing to a local bill about hunting in Cecil County, but by golly, we're gonna ram this one through. So
All right,
I would
Senators,
urge the
time's
body to
expired.
reject this bill.
Time's expired. All right. Question is on Senate Bill 401 is on third reading for final passage. Can we clear the board? The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Does everyone record their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 30 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 401, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. What a year. Chair recognizes the co-chair of the Protocol Committee.
Thank you very much. I was going to ask for one of the House bills that got missed, but anyway, on behalf of the Protocol Committee, we just want to wish everybody happy Sine Die. You have an extra special treat on your way out, so be sure to pick it up. Thank you all.
Thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes the Minority Leader.
Thank you. I would be remiss if I didn't thank our Minority Caucus staff, Teresa, Megan, and Susan. They did a great job, and I wanted to publicly thank them.
Thank you. They are wonderful. All right. Chair, let's see. Chair recognizes. Well, let me just say at the end here, I just very quickly. When we came in, just a few things, just as we think about what this session was like. And look, it was a tough day today. I know it was a tough day, and that's how it's going to be in a session like this. But we started with January 6th, right, before we walked in. We had the passing of our President Emeritus, which feels like a year ago. We had a President Emeritus laying in state. We had an inauguration of a new president. We had a vaccine distribution that radically changed throughout. We had testing scares here on campus. We had limited staff across the board here and in our offices. We had technical Zoom issues. We had total isolation. We had new technology, a lack of paper. We had a new senator from the 27th district. We had billions of dollars in stimulus money that was unexpected. We had protests from all over the place. We had post-midnight sessions. The Senate was here alone by ourselves for 30 days where the House was not. We started with Lawyers Mall completely and entirely under construction and now wide open. We've had the last 19 days of session, the first time that I can say that as the presiding officer of this chamber. But at the end of the day, even though there were places where we definitely had different ideas and different opinions about where to go, this was an incredibly productive, collaborative session. And we did the work for the people of Maryland, and we should all feel very proud when we go back. So with that, the chair recognizes the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate of Maryland stand adjourned, sine die.
Without objection, so ordered. Stay safe, wear your mask, get the vaccine.